Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Generally Irritable Special Election Season Edition. I'm really excited to be back in Burlington and getting to do some live streams with candidates for city council, maybe even school board. If anybody wants to reach out, anybody watching, if you're a school board candidate or a city council candidate and you are close to center moderate and to the right. So if you're a Republican, if you're a centrist, if you're a truly an independent, I would love to have you on the show and let some people hear about your candidacy. I can't lie. I am not a, what is that? I am a biased news organization. We here at Generally Irritable are really looking to help promote conservative values and candidates that we think are valuable, who use reason and data to make decisions, not just their emotions. And so I'm actually really excited to have Alec Stith on tonight. He is running for city council in Ward 7 of Burlington. The current city councilor is Ollie Dang, and nice enough man. I like Ollie. We have each other's phone number. We've talked. But I haven't been happy with all of the decisions that he's made on the council. And while I think that it's important to take feelings into consideration and to be empathetic and compassionate, we also have to make sure that the things being suggested are being tracked and followed through and discover if they really work. And a lot of the things that we're seeing from our current city council and the mayor just don't work. And so when I first met Alec I think it was last year, or maybe it was even in 2020, when there was some stuff going on with the bond for the fire station, I was like, this guy clearly is thinking about things. And I was really excited to see that he was running. He is an engineer, and anybody who knows engineers, I'm an accountant. So I like engineers. I like to process, be rational, reasonable, logical, right? There's compassion and empathy in there. But let's first start with what are the facts and what is true. And so I think that that's something that Alec brings to the table. And so I'm really, really excited to have him on today. And so before I bring him into the live stream, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to my Patreon supporters. I actually, I never promote this stuff, you guys. I bring my content to you, and I don't normally ask for, like, share, and subscribe. But I'm realizing how much that stuff matters. Conservative content especially does get throttled on social media. It really does. So your likes, your shares, your follows all really do make a difference. And what else makes a difference are my Patreon supporters. I have Kurt Wheeler and Keisha Gathright are both monthly supporters on Patreon. So after we get done, I'll try to remember to I will put a link, a pinned comment in the comments section for people, if you can and you're able to be a monthly subscriber, even at $2 a month. That really goes a long way to helping me transition from being a full-time accountant and having an accounting practice to being able to produce content and the news around the state of Vermont to you, my viewers. So blah, blah, that was awkward. Eventually, I'll be less awkward when asking for things and asking for money. I better get good at that. Speaking of getting good at asking for money, I wonder how Alec is doing with his fundraising. Alec Stith, welcome to Generally Irritable.
Well, thank you, Erica, for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. I want to make sure I don't anybody watching is like, oh my God, Alec is a Republican. I didn't say that. Okay, I didn't say that. You are running as a Democrat. Is that correct, Alec?
That is correct. However, okay. I did receive the endorsement of both the Democratic Committee and the GOP.
Okay, and that's because we of the Republican Party, the Burlington GOP, I've said this before. I don't care. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care what you are. If you can do math, I will vote for you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm an independent-minded person, and math is right up my alley, analytics, and being a data-driven person and understanding that you have to be pragmatic is kind of in my nature, and that is really what getting an engineering degree is all about. It shows that you can think analytically. And,
Ooh, I
that
like it. Okay,
that's really
so
the
sorry.
distilled down. No, sorry,
Okay,
that's okay.
okay. So Alec, why don't you take a couple minutes and do your like introductory pitch, right? I'm Alec. This is what I'm about. I got a family. They're cool. You got great picture. You got a good looking family for the
I
record.
appreciate that.
I love your pictures.
It comes all from my wife, that's so. But yeah, no, my name is Alec, and I am an engineer. And my wife and I moved to Burlington over a decade ago, and we've lived in the new North End now for a number of years. And prior to purchasing our house, we lived in the old North End for a decade, and we saved in a very small apartment. And we did that so that way we could afford the down payment on our house here where we want to be and start a family. And since moving here, we've had 2 children who are both awesome. I have a daughter and a son, and my daughter being the younger of the 2 and the newest addition. And my wife is now a stay-at-home mom for the time being to raise our family. And that was a decision that we made together. She's taking a leave of absence from her job, and she was a school counselor prior to doing that. And so we planned this, and it took a long time of sitting, saving, and thinking and budgeting and really understanding where can we live within our means, where we want to live in Burlington. And we've known we want to live in Burlington. We know we want to stay in Burlington. And being able to plan that out and save and then move here has been really just an amazing opportunity that we're incredibly thankful for. And so now, I realized I wanted to get involved after talking to a couple of my neighbors. They approached me independently about the state of the city and the state of the council and things that are being brought to the council that don't necessarily fall under a local view or under the purview of the city council, and maybe divisive things and other things that didn't make a lot of logical sense. And what I really would hope to do is bring that civility and local focus back to the city council. And I'm passionate about a few things, the environment, public safety, being affordable. And I think that really resonates with a lot of people because we want to stay here. We want to be able to live here and grow our family and have our children grow up here. And that's important to me.
That is, I love to hear that. I have been very blessed to be living in the home that my mom grew up in.
That's awesome.
This home has been in my family since it was built in 1963, and so I love that family focus and that idea. To me, that's like thinking about the future and thinking about legacy and how do we take care of not only what we have to do now, but also make sure we set it up for the next generation.
Exactly. You have to look and have that foresight into decisions that you're making now. How will they impact the future? And that can be anything from, we put solar on our house, and that was one of the first things we did, as well as weatherizing our attic and adding insulation. And I'm a mechanical engineer, so I like to do a lot of that work by myself. But through the supportive nature of Burlington Electric and Vermont Gas, they have programs that you can take advantage of. And it wasn't just thinking the now, it was looking at what's the return on investment for the, solar, for example. And after 7 years, it's going to be paid back. And you look at the rising cost of electricity and things, and not just the cost, but how is it good for the environment? And so, you don't want to waste energy. So we insulated our attic, we air sealed it, we did ventilation, we put the, solar panels on, switched everything to LED light bulbs because it's the right thing to do, but it also is making the house more comfortable. And those types of programs, I think, are incredibly valuable and things that we should look at. Those are low-hanging fruit things.
Now, I have to ask, though, a lot of those programs are paid for by tax dollars. So actually that makes Burlington less affordable. So while those programs are good in that they help people, if it makes Burlington less affordable, do you think that we should continue to support those kind of measures?
Well, that's a complex question, because while you can say it would make it less affordable, you yourself, if you take advantage of it, are kind of getting your own money back, and then it would pay itself back with the offsets that you would gain. So if you have an incredibly leaky house and you're wasting a lot of energy, then insulating and air sealing can save you a lot of money. And solar off, that again, the investment is large. That's a federal, kind of program, but the net metering, that helps pay you back, and then you have a return on investment. So while some of those programs may increase the cost, you have to look at the overall net good, and then overall, what does it do for you personally? So I know for me, when I did the analysis on my house, it was beneficial for me to take advantage of that program. And overall, it saved the environment as well, which is something, you don't want to waste energy.
Okay, well, we're gonna argue about this, but hold on. I'm getting a weird. Any of our viewers that are watching, are you getting an interruption in the feed? I'm getting this weird feedback over here that says interruption in signal. Can somebody comment? So hold on. And before I forget, anybody watching, this is not a one-way conversation. If you have questions for Alec, put them in the comment section. And if they're good questions, as long as you're not being rude or crazy, I'll read your question and have Alec read it. I never have weird viewers, Alec, just for the record, but every once in a while people get all hype. Like when we're talking about this stuff, because I'm like, I want to argue with you about the Vermont gas thing, because we did that. We had the energy audit. They said it was going to save the whole house about $200 a year. So that's me and my tenants. That's
not a lot.
No. And guess how much it was going to cost me?
Oh, probably $6,000.
$14,000.
Yeah, so that payback is rough. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. But
literally 80 years.
That means that your house, from a weatherization standpoint, is already where it needs to be. And if you look at the city has a goal that they're trying to reach. So if you look at the larger picture of that and see the forest for the trees, the overall benefit out of some of the major egregious, houses that are leaking air or, could use this, the overall net goal is positive. So well, that's where it kind of is an individual, I know I see you looking at me. It's kind of individual.
Giving you the stink eye, Alec.
Oh, no, it's good. It's good to have disagreements. And, going back to when you said questions from viewers.
Yeah.
I will take any feedback from anybody, whether it's positive, negative, or indifferent, as long as it's constructive. Feedback doesn't kill you and should be welcomed with a thank you. And I'll say that first and foremost. And
well, and I'm always going to say stuff like that is bad, just for the record. And just because I am a small government conservative. And so I think anytime that you're taking, and I'm very libertarian, so I'm the girl that puts hashtag taxes are theft on half my videos and like abolish the Fed and stuff like that. So let's just start there. Okay, we have one question from Michael. This is not a serious question, but and he can't vote for you. So just for the record, but
it doesn't matter. It's good to answer questions.
But I'm going to, because Michael picked and anybody, like, this is not a paid advertisement. Michael Valdez, Top Cat, is an awesome driver. I have him pick me up from the airport whenever I'm flying in or out, because it's just nice. He's got a nice car and it doesn't smell weird and he doesn't play bad music and he's professional. He's like an actual driver. Like, not like an Uber driver. I mean, like actual, like, driver person that's paid for it, like legit. So anyway, so I'm humoring him. He said, "What's your favorite kind of taco? Beef or chicken?"
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, if only those two choices, that's all I get. I'm gonna go with a beef taco in that case.
Yeah, I think that wins. I don't know what Michael's gonna say, but that would be my choice. No, seriously. Okay. Let's see. Brian says 5x5 currently only one interruption. I don't know what 5x5 means, Brian, but you said only one interruption. Okay, so that's good. So whatever it's doing on my screen is not continuously happening.
And to be fair, I don't see anything on my screen.
Okay.
coming up. So
That's good. Michael says chicken. You're wrong, Michael.
Oh,
You
man.
are dead wrong.
I appreciate his input. You can't please everybody, but I appreciate his opinion.
Yeah, we're vetoing that one. No, but seriously. One of the things I really like about your platform, I'm going to share your website with people. Oh, here we go. There we go. So public safety, housing and affordability, local focus, environment. Okay. So local focus, you mentioned a couple times, I think. Tell us a little bit more about what you mean by local focus.
Yeah, so what I mean is not bringing forth resolutions that are on a state or on a national or international level. Keeping politics for Burlington in Burlington and keeping it serious. Not bringing forth non-binding resolutions or the like, or even discussing subjects that there is no influence from the city for.
So, since Burlington City Council is about governing Burlington, you should be focused on Burlington.
Correct.
And I actually really appreciate what you said about being serious and the non-binding resolution stuff. To me, that's political theater, and really kind of a waste of time for the city council to be doing.
Yeah, I know a lot of people feel, talking to them, that the council is fractured and, it gets distracted and sometimes divisive things get brought up that really don't serve the people well. And it should be about the people and for the people. And that's what the city needs to focus on. Keep it small and keep it about the city and bring that civility back and that focus back to the local politics that really are what should be discussed and the only things that should be discussed. That's what I mean. So make it less of, I guess, the people who don't feel that it's taken seriously, or that it's not about them or for them. And, I think we need to get back to that.
Well, and I almost am of the mind that local politics shouldn't even be partisan.
I agree.
I know some states, some places it's not. And personally, that would be my preference. I'm not really sure what a D or an R or an I or an L or a P or whatever behind your name matters when it comes to needing to make sure that the water stays on.
Exactly.
And our infrastructure doesn't fall apart.
It doesn't matter what the letter next to your name is. What matters is making the right decision for the community. And that's why the GOP as well as the Democratic Committee both support me, because it doesn't matter. It shouldn't be partisan. It should be whatever is the best logical decision to help the city move forward.
I like it. Okay. So tell me about this first one, this first quadrant. That tells me that's important. I might be reading into it, Alec.
Public safety is very important, and it's on the forefront of a lot of people's minds, myself included, And the way that the public safety initiative for cutting the police through attrition went down, I do not believe that that is the right way. I think a lot of people see that it was not the right way to go. And if you think about it, the plan should have been in place for refunding if you are going to defund long before the defunding cord was pulled on that. So, if shifting funding over to mental health and substance abuse is the right plan, and that's what, say, the CNA report or other communities other communities that are similar sized went through, that's wonderful. But we need to have the plan in place. We need to have people trained and ready to do the job. So when officers do leave through attrition and we get down to the number that is recommended or what we think or other people think and the data shows that we should be at, those positions are full and ready to go. The dispatchers know who to call. Who needs to be at a given situation is ready and trained. There's a long lead time for training on any job. I'm a manufacturing guy, so there's a long lead time on raw materials and getting people trained. And you have to think about those things. It's not an instantaneous backfill.
I wonder if you've ever had to do this where, like when I've had to implement a new accounting system as an example for a client, we run both systems concurrently. So we don't just stop
Correct.
using their old accounting software and then just start using the new accounting software. There first has to be like a download of the information. Then we have to double check that it's not corrupted and that it's good. And in the meantime, we're still doing all of our regular accounting in the old system. And then we're slowly making sure this new system is working correctly.
Exactly.
All the bugs are worked out. And then once we know and it's running alongside, then we switch.
Exactly. And my company did that when we transitioned to a newer ERP system from an older system. You know, you run them
Yes.
concurrently, you bring the stakeholders who are involved to the table, and you actively engage them to gain their feedback and actively listen to what they're saying and how we can mitigate the risk when we do transition into a new system. So we do that, you know, in work. We do this, and we should do this in life, and we should do this in the way the government is run. Plan, do,
Right.
check, act. You know, PDCA.
Oh.
Those types of methodologies.
Mm.
Same thing with, say, double loop management, where you get your feedback back and you make adjustments and you move. Those are the fundamental principles of making solid data-driven decisions.
What do you think if and I'm totally asking you to speculate here, and so you can decline to answer. But do you have an idea of why this was so hastily done?
I can't speculate because I can't get inside other people's heads.
Yeah,
So I really can't comment, and I wouldn't try to do that because they
that's
have
fair.
different views, different opinions, and you know, those same opinions should be listened to and understood. But I can't speculate as to why they were
Why?
made without getting, you know, without that. You can't be in
Yeah,
somebody's head.
right, exactly. And I think that that's what, for me, I don't want to speak to motive, but I will say it seems like our city council makes a lot of emotional decisions. People get very emotional about a topic one way or another, and it's like it just has to be done right now instead of like, no, let's work this out first and make sure what we're saying is reasonable.
Correct. And you have a
And,
plan in place to actually act on. You know, you plan it, you do it, you check it, you act it. PDCA. You know, I'll go back to that because that really is a way to make a data-driven
mhm.
decision. And you
And
know, then keeping with a consistent pattern for voting on the city council or making decisions, you know, with regards to public safety. And you know, you can't jump back and forth and try to go to two different sides. You have to own the decision you make and then use data to drive yourself forward, listening to the stakeholders and improve. Uh,
yeah.
and that's the whole crux of it, is to try to do what is right to improve the community.
Well, and I think what was additionally alarming about that whole situation is once we saw what was happening and the mass exodus of Burlington police, which I can't blame them for the record. Like I wouldn't want to stay in a police force where I'm hated and degraded by the people that I'm meant to protect. And then the people who are meant to stand up for me also demean and degrade me in public.
It
That
should be a
is not,
partnership. It should be a partnership between, you know, every department in the city and the
yeah.
people, not just the
And
police, but every department.
not to say, and again, like just to be really clear, if there are people acting badly, they should be dealt with. So I just want to say that.
I
But
agree.
like once we saw things were going badly and like, oh crap, crime is going up and like, oh, and we don't have cops to deal with it. Like they still didn't want to do anything about it.
Yeah, and I mean, you see that on posts on Front Porch Forum or the New
Mm,
North End. You know, bicycle thefts, cars being broken into, people's houses even being broken into. You know, smaller level crimes or lower level crimes, but that makes people feel invaded. It makes people not feel safe in their own house, and they have to double check their cars are locked. They have to, you know, install cameras or motion sensors or security systems. And this is
mm,
Burlington. You know,
yeah.
and people say that can't happen, but you know, you see the posts, and it's almost a daily occurrence for people saying my car was broken, my car was stolen, my bike was stolen. People
Yep.
were walking up around my backyard, and that
Super
makes you a
sketch.
little uneasy.
Well, and think about all the, the older folks who live alone and can't necessarily defend themselves, and single women. Not to say that guys are like singled out, but like you guys are less likely to be victimized. If I'm a bad guy, I'm going to go after the little ladies or the little old lady or little old man, and like I was hearing, and I live on the bike path, and I kept hearing from the police that doors are getting kicked in and people are robbing people on the bike path. And I'm going, where am I?
And a lot of it is crimes of opportunity as well. People going around car doors, opening any unlocked vehicle. But that's not the community that you want to foster, and you also want a partnership, again, with your police force and with other departments in the city. You should be looking at it as a partnership, not an adversarial relationship.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Okay. Michael says, for being a good sport to the question, you get a free ride from Top Cat Express to the airport.
It's the real motive. You see the real motive. I appreciate that. Smart advertising by Michael. But,
I love it.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm not flying anywhere recently. So
well, maybe he'll give you another ride somewhere else sometime. Maybe if you want to go out on a date with your wife somewhere, and you
bring
can
the two small children right with me. It's,
no, you get a babysitter. No, what are you talking about? Okay,
we got a few more years before that.
Okay, so here we go. We got housing and affordability. So we touched on that. You talked about, wanting to, what you and your wife did, the decisions that you make and how you made, and how you set yourselves up to be homeowners in the New North End.
Yeah, and then to dovetail onto that, we grew our family, right? So we had my son, and then we said, we want two children. We wanted a four-person family, and this house that we purchased is a little small. It was a 2-bedroom home, which is modest and great. And we said, hey, we have an opportunity to expand this to being a 3-bedroom home, and subsequently did that. So now we have a 3-bedroom, bedroom addition on there. And part of housing and affordability is increasing the housing stock, but it's also changing some zoning regulations that would allow people to, construct additional dwellings, accessory dwellings, or expand their homes if it's lot coverage percentage or setbacks. Looking at things like that, how can you incentivize people to improve their houses, and how can they grow if they need to stay in this city? Because that was one of the issues that we had. Well, if we can't expand it, we're going to end up buying a house and selling it and moving into another one where we could have a little bit more room for each one of our children. But we didn't want to do that. We wanted to stay here. And fortunately, I had a friend who was a contractor. I hired him, paid him, and he didn't give me a discount, but I paid him. And then I did a lot of the finishing work and other work by myself. Yeah. And at night and on the side, I did that while I was going to graduate school. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of dust, and it was good. But I have that hands-on experience from jobs prior. So
I love it. I love to hear you say dealing with some of the zoning, because it is ridiculous and it is outrageous.
And Moreau Weinberger, you may like him, you may not, and that's okay. But he did put forth the plan to increase the development of housing stock by relaxing some of the zoning regulations.
Except Moreau Weinberger has also directed their city attorney to force us to remove one of our 3 units. So this is what we're literally being punished. There is a rule, a 60-day ordinance that says if your unit is vacant for more than 60 days, you lose whatever special use permit you have. So we've had a triplex here since 1963. And so because several years ago, my family did a full renovation on one of the units, new floors, new kitchen, new cabinets, new bathtub, new sink, new everything. We are now being forced to remove it because it took more than 60 days.
Yeah. Well, I can't speak to your specific,
city. Hold on. So, Sarah Carpenter, Ollie Dang, and Mark Barlow all refuse to talk to me about it. And so does the mayor. And they refuse to do anything, even though they know and acknowledge how stupid it is.
Well, again, while I can't speak to your specific instance, I would say that anybody should be listened to and heard, and at least listened to. So that's really all I can say. But changing zoning to allow things maybe like yours, again, I don't know the exact specifics on your case, but allow people to utilize their property and either add a unit, because that could be a unit that could help somebody.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
I have to evict my tenants.
I
So
spoke to another gentleman who
I'm going to,
wanted
let
to.
me be clear, how they don't want people to evict, and they want people to be good landlords and not be slumlords and not evict people. They are forcing me to evict my tenants. I just want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah, I
So
understand. Again, I don't know the specifics on yours, so I can't really make any
I hope
comments
you
as to
do
why they
whatever
would.
you can. I want you on the ordinance committee. That's what I'm like making it. Alec, I'm making a personal request that you request to be on the ordinance committee.
That's one thing about being nonpartisan is also no special treatment for anybody.
No,
The
but
playing
that
field should be
you have
equal
to
for
admit that's a
all.
stupid rule. You have to admit that's a stupid rule.
Yeah, that rule, if it's vacant for more than 60 days, it revokes a special use. That may not make much sense. So why do you need a special? We could get into this. Why you need a special use instead of it just being? I don't know.
Because
Again,
we're in a
that's
low density residential area.
yeah. So
And only duplexes are allowed.
changing some zoning and allowing things like that would be something that should be looked into. Allowing people to build on their homes to expand so they can stay here. I spoke to a gentleman who was interested in having a detached garage. He wanted to change that into an accessory dwelling, and he said, well, I don't think with the zoning I'd be allowed to do that. It's like, well, that could add a unit or a short-term rental that could provide him income as well as tourism dollars. So not something that necessarily should be done, but should be looked into and at least discussed. That's part of being innovative, is not coming up with something new, but using what you have in new ways.
Well, and I think it's really also what we talked about earlier, which is, what did you say? Plan,
do, check, act.
Check. Are these rules that you implemented having the desired effect that they were implemented for? I sincerely cannot imagine for 1,000 years why a rule like that would have been implemented. I really don't. I really can't. I can't. I literally cannot think of one reason why that would be a rule.
I
but
off the top of my head, I can't, but I'm sure there was a reason, and understanding what that is would be beneficial to find out if that reason is still valid.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, whatever reason that you implemented this, maybe there should have been carve outs. Maybe there should have been like, oh, this is only for whatever, or blah, blah, blah. And I'm not just talking about my rule. I'm actually working on a documentary to really highlight all the ways that Burlington city zoning and stuff is actually demonstrably harming normal middle class, lower class folks. A good friend of mine is actually now selling her property because it's like, I'm over it. They had one of their apartments in one of the old houses in the old North End, so like downtown area. One corner of one room was a 1/4 inch too low. So not the whole apartment, not even a whole room. One corner of one room was only 6'11" and 3/4 inches. And they forced her to remove that housing unit from the house.
Yeah, I can't again, without knowing exact specifics on rules in that for that specific situation. I can't comment, but what I can say is, expanding housing stock expands the tax base. Building new units, allowing people to stay in their homes, build additional rooms, build accessory dwellings, where applicable and where it makes sense, allows the tax base to expand. Tax base expands overall. Money taken in by the city is spread out. Tax
Economic
liability
activity
spread
goes
out,
up,
lower
businesses
for people.
go up. This
Correct.
is what I'm saying. Oh my God. See, I disagree with you about some stuff, right? But you can do math, Alec. This is what I'm talking about.
It's like growing businesses, right? Incentivizing people to start businesses in Burlington.
Well, and this is because what is actually happening is the rise in taxes and these zoning laws that are absolutely stupid, in my opinion. I'm not supposed to talk like that. My husband told me to stop calling things stupid, but they're stupid. What that does, what it has the effect of doing, is causing people to leave. How many families just keep leaving because they can't afford it anymore, or it doesn't make sense, or they can't expand their home, or they're on fixed income and the tax increases are too much, fill in the blank.
Yeah, I
And
know. And people are stinging from the reappraisal right now.
and we're getting a couple more bonds on the ballot in March.
Yeah, one more bond, I believe, is going on the vote on Monday, as well as a tax increase.
Which is wild to me. And the school board budget is going up 13%, which I know that has nothing to do with you. But I say to myself, what are these people thinking?
Yeah, so it gives you even more, of an idea about how we should be drawing businesses into the city and expanding our tax base in general.
Yeah.
And that's one way to keep it affordable,
I
as well as
think
looking at places where you can be more innovative with, your resources that you have in the city or departments in the city.
Yeah.
What are you're looking at your overall operation, where can you be more efficient?
And this is what is so disgusting and shocking to me is when we're all, like you said, stinging from the reappraisal. I can't imagine what was going through them. And many of us had our businesses shut down. We lost money, we lost jobs, people got sick, et cetera, and so forth. And how irresponsible it is for our school commissioners and our city councilors and our mayor and the department heads to think that asking for even more money from us would be appropriate.
Yeah, so I can see both sides of the coin though on that one, because certain things, if the bond that's coming up that they're going to vote on tomorrow are necessary things, or things for public safety. Now, is it the right time to ask more money, or did they ask for money for things in the past? You can't change what they asked for in the past, and what passed on the, I keep saying past, but it's what has passed through the voters. And if the voters approve it, that's what the voters approve. So some of those things, if you read them in the bond, are viable, right? Upgrading
But why? I've read it, but why is it the response? Why would the city think it's okay to ask for more money from us instead of cutting their budget and living within their means, just like we as homeowners and business owners have to do?
I think it should be, twofold. I think first you should be looking at where can you gain efficiencies and how are you using your resources.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you hit that level of efficiency that you feel like you can't really go further on, that's when you should approach and look. We do that from a manufacturing standpoint. We're not going to install a new twin screw extruder when we have capacity that we could gain through efficiency on our existing machines.
This reminds me, somebody was supposed to send me the detailed budgets. I got to write this down so I don't forget. I'm going to audit the city budget. I'm going to do a detailed audit of the city budget and the school board budget to actually highlight some of that stuff, because I think people really don't understand what we're spending our money on. And frankly, personally, when the city is spending money on things like flower pots and bike lanes, and we're still having sewer back up into our basements, and we have crumbling infrastructure, like, why are we spending money on art stuff? I'm an artist. I benefit from those things. We've gotten artistic grants. My husband's an artist. But when the people who live in the city can't afford to live here anymore, and the taxes are so outrageous, why do you think we spend money on things like art, like city art or public art displays or flower pots? So that's what I just don't understand, how somebody can say we want Burlington to be affordable and then also be for taking more money from people to pay for pet projects like bike lanes and stuff.
Yeah, I think you need to look at what you spend money on, and you need to spend it on the right thing at the right time. I mean, while those projects may be good projects, they might not be timed right to spend money on. But overall, you may want to do those types of projects. But you have to make sure that you're spending the money wisely when you do spend it. It can't be austerity measures. You cut your budget, but it has to be things like, hey, if the bike lane makes sense, or city beautification to draw people in, do you spend that money now when you have, say, you just said, oh, sewer backing up? What is what's the highest, risk that you should spend on to mitigate before you work down the list?
Well, like
an RPM
there's no
number in
way.
a FMEA,
Well, I can say like no money should have been spent on the McNeil redo. Not McNeil. I'm sorry. The freaking stupid structure.
The Moran frame.
Yeah, like that crap. We never should have redone the City Hall Park. If our infrastructure is so bad that it's backing up sewage into people's basements,
then those are the things that should be focused on first.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I've gone down a total rabbit trail with you, Alec.
That's
I'm just
fine.
like,
it's
like
really,
some of it's hitting me right now. How silly it is.
No, it's really about fiscal responsibility and transparency and choosing the right projects at the right time. And those projects are things that people want to do, and I respect that.
I get it.
When do you want to do them, and when's the right time to do them is a different story.
This is what I'm saying. So you know what, you guys want to redo the Moran plant? Cool, fine, whatever. But get private money to do it, or do it not when we have sewage backing up into our basements. I'm one of the people who had sewage back up into their basement. So, but it's not just me. I know a bunch of our neighbors have had it happen.
Well, like the police and fire department need new communication equipment. So things like that enhance public safety, those types of projects. Or, we have the city put forth a really nice, climate change action plan, but like the firehouse has single pane windows. So, we need to walk the talk and not just talk the talk as a city. And it's looking at where are we going to gain, the biggest gain for our dollar.
Yep.
What's the right thing to spend on at the right time? And that's that pragmatic approach.
Okay, so you have an actual question from one of your actual possible voters. I
like all questions. It's good to ask questions.
Okay. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, wait. I'll start with this question. Okay. In an effort to complete my home efficiency faster, would Alec support changing some requirements in programs for efficiency, which require you to use contractor of their choosing and just wait. Okay, hold on. They said my home was pretty tight and I didn't need. So I think what he's asking is, hold on, Ray. I want to make sure I'm getting your question exactly right. I think he's saying that for the efficiency, they have to ask. They have to get a contractor that the city chooses.
I think what he's saying is, and correct me, Ray, if I'm wrong, you're asking if I would support people doing a DIY approach rather than having to choose a contractor on a list to complete the projects.
Right.
Yes, I absolutely would, as long as you can meet the requirements and you have the skill set able to do that. And that's absolutely something you should be able to do. I did the insulation and air sealing in my attic. I opened up the soffits on my house and put in proper vents and opened the ridge vent up in my attic. And I did that by myself. I constructed the a sealed hatch for my drop down attic hatch. And the city came, not the city, but Vermont Gas came out, did a blower door test on it, and then came back and showed that efficiency gain. Now, if I didn't get to where I needed to be, then I would not have qualified for the program. But yeah, I think being able to do that work yourself, as long as you have the level of confidence and can complete the work satisfactorily, I don't see why you would not be allowed to do that or should not be allowed. You shouldn't be forced to hire a contractor if you can do the work. That's like right now in the city, you have to pull a permit to change a light switch. But you don't have to hire a contractor to do that. You can do that yourself. Any work in a panel, needs a contractor, and it's dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing, you do run the risk of hurting yourself or others. And I see why certain things are there. Like you have to hire a licensed electrician to work inside of your panel, but you don't to change a ceiling fan. But you need to pull a permit for it. So certain things like that, is that necessary to pull a permit to change a light fixture? According to the zoning right now, it is. But you're not adding a whole new circuit. But to his question, yes, air sealing, insulating, doing those efficiency projects, you don't need a permit to blow insulation into your attic.
and especially Ray is a contractor. That's what's funny. So
Yeah, he could
Ray,
self-contract, but
that's what I'm
yeah, I mean,
saying. But
you shouldn't
it
need to
has
choose one, off that. I
right.
think if you can do it yourself, they should foster that, because that's
Yeah.
that spirit of, hey, I want to do better, and you want to improve your house, not only for yourself, but people want to do it because it's the right thing to do for the environment.
Well, and Ray, just for the record, Ray is awesome. Ray, I love the threshold from the family room to the kitchen. I haven't gotten to tell him this personally, but since he's watching, I'm going to give him a shout out. It looks so pretty. I came home and it's so pretty. Anybody who needs somebody to do work on their house, Ray is awesome. I shouldn't tell the whole neighborhood that, because then he's going to be too busy to come do
So
stuff at my house.
is this like the driver? He's going to say, hey, now you get one free contract type,
No,
thing. I'll come to your house.
no. Ray is awesome. For people who don't know Ray Ingram, he's been a very good friend to me since I moved back in 2018, and he's just really, really kind and really good at what he does, and he really cares. But I swear this isn't an advertisement. This is totally not planned.
But allowing people to do that, to Ray's point, would help the city get more towards that goal, which everybody is trying to, the city, I say everybody, but the city is pushing, and a lot of people are trying to push. So incentivizing people to do work on their own and not hire a contractor, that might be a barrier to entry to some of these weatherization projects, is having to hire a contractor.
Yep.
And a lot of people may want to, and that's great. But if you want to take the project on your own, I was up in my attic in August. It was very hot, but we got it done.
It's so funny. Christopher Aaron said Miro doesn't budget well, and I'm not going to ask you to comment on that, Alec. I will just say it is interesting, because I think this is what I think I've sort of noticed or realized about Burlington particularly, is that I heard this expression called pathological compassion. And it's like, we want to be so compassionate that we go overboard sometimes. Like, I've asked even Miro publicly, like, or, out at events and stuff, I'm saying, why don't you cut the budget? Why is it that city employees actually make more than the average Vermonter? Why is it they have better benefits packages and salaries than an average Burlingtonian or Vermonter? And he says, well, Erica, what do you want me to do? Fire people or reduce their salaries? And I say, yes. Like, I don't understand why someone whose salary is paid with tax dollars should make more than the people who pay the taxes. Maybe if you're the city engineer and you're the one building the roads, maybe that guy gets paid more. But I just think that we are generous to a fault. And we just want to help everyone, and we just want to try to make everyone's existence comfortable. And I just don't think that that's a reasonable goal. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if people are doing a really good job, the people in, say, the DPW, then we should be incentivizing them to stay and do a great job, and paying them, if they've been here and they're working hard, then that should be something we do pay them for. You want to, it's just like in private industry, people get raises every year for cost of living. If they're really a good worker, they get incentivized to stay and to be a good worker. You don't want people leaving their jobs, whether it's in the city or private industry, to jump to another place because they feel that you didn't treat them fairly when they do a good job. And my philosophy is that the goal should never be to fire people. It should be to develop them and try to raise them up. So if you have people who are working really hard, that's awesome, and they should be rewarded as such. So you have
as
DPW
long as it doesn't
guys
increase my tax dollars.
but you have guys, who are on the recycle truck in the middle of snow, on the DPW guys, and they are plowing the roads, and they're working long hours, and they're there at night, and they're allowing you to get out of your driveway, and
Yeah, very
in the
important
training,
jobs.
it takes a long
Very
time.
important jobs. I
Yeah.
agree, but like police officers only make like 50 grand.
I
Why
yeah.
is it why is somebody who works at a desk in City Hall making more than a police officer?
I can't comment on that because I don't have specifics on it. What I'm saying is, if they have, say, that person there has been there 30 years and they have been doing a fantastic job. If you're at a
Mhm.
job for 30 years, your wages are going to increase.
Then
You're
I
not
would
going to be.
encourage you to go to the private sector where you can make more money.
Well, I'm just saying, you're not going to be capped, and you're not. It wouldn't be fair to say to somebody, "Oh, now that you're making more than this because you've been here 20 years, you're fired." That
Yeah,
that wouldn't be fair. That wouldn't be equitable to people, and I don't.
I just don't think those salary caps should even be that high.
And that's a separate question on that.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of
And that
jobs that
see
are done.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
There's a lot of jobs that are done that are difficult jobs. Police officer is a difficult job, and I would encourage people, counselors, if they're going to be voting on things relating to police, they should do ride-alongs. Same thing with the DPW. Maybe go down and do a ride-along with those guys, filling potholes or taking out
Yeah.
recycling, and understand what those jobs are like, and
Yeah.
how you can help those people. And then fire and police and everybody, give them the right tools to do the job. Ensure that they
Yeah.
have the tools necessary to do the job, and listen to their feedback. When you make a decision, bring them in with you, because those guys are the stakeholders, those men and women, and that's
That is true.
important, to listen to that feedback. But if they're doing a great job, then they should be rewarded as such. The lead time for a police officer, even some, lead time for any job, people in DPW, firefighters, that lead time for training and proficiency is long. It's long. So
Mm.
you don't want people to jump to another municipality or into the private sector when if they feel slighted. If they're doing a good job, you want to reward them for that. I mean, maybe you want
In the
them to
private
jump,
sector.
Erica, but and we can disagree on those things. But from a pragmatic
We're
standpoint,
gonna continue to disagree on that, because otherwise then the budget just keeps going up and up and up and up and up.
and that's exactly how it is in the private sector as
Not
well.
only that, but these people are all members of public sector unions. So they use their money to get politicians elected who then decide what their salaries are. And so I think that there's a really perverse relationship with public sector unions. I personally don't think that they should exist. I'm going to get hated for this, saying it out loud. I don't think public sector, if let me rephrase that. I think if public sector unions want to exist, they should not be allowed to use money. They should not be allowed to donate to politicians.
And we can. I don't want to go off the rails or off this type of a discussion, but
Yeah.
what I will say is that if the people are doing their job well, then they should be rewarded. And the long lead time for people, you need to incentivize people to stay and to do a good job. If they're doing a good job, they should absolutely be sincerely thanked, and provided that growth and opportunity. And again, it's a partnership, right, with everybody on all departments. And I look at this from my point of view, working in the private sector, in the plant that I work in, is that you want to partner with people. You don't want to have that adversarial relationship. And ideally, you're giving everybody the right tool to do the job and finding out from them. That's that double loop management. You listen back to them and find out, do you have the right tools for the job, and gain their insights and gain their thoughts as stakeholders.
Ray said they won't provide financial assistance because a homeowner was doing the work. Wow, that's wild.
So those are things that should be looked at, because if you want to incentivize people to move towards that goal, it's telling them, Ray maybe doesn't want to hire a contractor because he himself is a contractor, or because he doesn't have the funds to be able to do that, and therefore he may just end up living without that weatherization. That hurts him, that hurts his comfort level, and it hurts the movement towards the city's goal.
Well, and I'm curious, because my understanding is a lot of those weatherization items are going to be made mandatory. And so it's one of those things where again, where the city council and the mayor say things that sound good and they sound positive, right? I don't know anybody who doesn't want to have a nice, clean environment and air and all these other things. But there is an an ability to pay or not pay. So as an example, if this were made mandatory and I had to pay 14th, we don't make money on this house. Like, just to be clear, it is so expensive to pay. Our taxes are out of control, and we could raise our rents to full market rate, but we don't, because we have a first responder and a social worker in one unit and a single mom in the other. And so we want to provide affordable housing. And so we pretty much break even every year. And if I suddenly have to come up with $14,000 because these thermal energy updates are made mandatory, I mean,
you're going to push it forward. I mean, you're not going to take a loss on it. I would logically think that you would not take a loss.
What do you mean?
Like, you wouldn't just cover the $14,000.
I can't cover the I personally
mean.
can't cover the $14,000. So I would be forced to raise rents at least to market, and then try to figure it out. I guess maybe I did a comedic short called The Homeless Landlord. Anybody can go watch it on my page. It is silly. And I joke that I go live out on the bike path because I can't afford to live in my own house, but we're quickly getting there. The capital bond is going to increase taxes for sure. They're telling us that this new capital bond is going to increase taxes.
I think if you looked at the schedule, it's, out at the end of the bond, it lowers your taxes overall, like at the end.
I've never seen a decrease in my property tax bill. So I don't know where that money goes to, but it'll be another bond that they issue or some other thing. So not once in the 63 years that my family has owned this property has our property tax bill gone down. So, again, it's just, we say that we want to have Burlington be affordable, and yet we don't act in any way close to what would keep Burlington affordable. And I just think that that's disappointing.
Yeah, I know we want to stay in our house for a long time. We didn't buy this house just to be a starter home and flip it after, X amount of years. We want to stay here. We want to raise our family here, and it needs to be affordable for us to do that.
Amen. Okay. Well, I've been beating you up, Alec, talking about stuff. No, seriously.
It's always a good discussion. Listening to different people's opinions, different people's questions are how you make progress. And again, I don't take feedback personally. I don't take actions. People can say whatever they want. That's their freedom.
Yeah.
And feedback to me, as long as it's constructive, I don't mind if it's positive, negative, or indifferent. Feedback is great. The only thing you should say is thank you.
And it's easy to get stuck just talking to people who agree with us. And then we don't really understand why the other side thinks what they do. Why do they think that? Why do they think that's a good idea? Okay, yes, that sounds good, but what about this? And it really requires, to me, I think, more than anything, what I would like to see is some diversity on the city council. And I mean ideological diversity. Where an actual debate can be had where people disagree, and then we can come to a consensus rather than just running all the way off the cliff without anybody saying boo about it.
I agree. I think it should be nonpartisan, and I think you should be willing to bring, different ideas to the table and hash them out, discuss them. And then whoever it concerns, that decision, bring those stakeholders to the table and give them a voice and listen to them. Actively listen to people.
Yep.
And bring that civility back, but keep it local. Don't look at it on that state or national level. If it cannot be influenced, if it's outside of your circle of influence, then don't worry about it.
Ooh. Oh, I was going to give you crap, but I won't. I was going to give you a gotcha, but I said I wouldn't do that to you. So I'm not going to, but I'll ask you in private later next time I see you. Okay. So we've come around the hour, and I want to give you an opportunity to take a couple more minutes to just, give your pitch to Ward 7. We do have some of your voters on here with us tonight, so this is really cool.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad people. So thank you for coming out and listening to me. I don't seek the spotlight. It's not something that I ever wanted. But when it's necessary, I felt compelled to step up. And having neighbors independently ask you if you would be willing to put yourself out there, it's kind of nerve-wracking. But ultimately, if it can improve the lives of the people around me, that's the goal. So, if you want pragmatic leadership who will listen and actively listen to people and use that analytical, data-driven plan, do, check, act methodology when making decisions, understanding the human side of the equation as well, then I think I can bring that back to the council, that civility back to the council, and keep that focus on what really matters to the people out here. Because I'm one of the people out here, and my family wants to be here. We're very happy to be here. We plan on being here for a long time. And again, if I can help other people with that same vision and that same want and desire, then that's what I will do. And that's why I decided to throw my name in there. And it's been a really interesting time, and I really look forward to meeting more people, understanding people's concerns with the ward and with the city, and how we can focus on issues together in a nonpartisan partnership type view with everybody to make progress in the city while keeping it affordable and moving towards the city's and the citizens' goals inside the city. So thank you for listening to me, and I appreciate that.
I like it. All right, boss. We will let you go for this evening. I wish you good luck in your endeavors and your race. Your website. Let me see. Let me get back there. Make sure everybody knows. I'll make sure that this is all in the description. Whoops. You don't want that. Okay. Alecstith.com. ALC.
ALECSTIH. Yeah.
Yep. I like it. Easy, straightforward. So you got your platform. Say hi to his good-looking family. Look how good-looking they are.
And the last thing I will say is my name means helper of mankind. My parents picked that for a reason. I aspire to be that way. And I'm, you asked my wife about that. It's something that I think if you can leave the place better than when you had it, then that's the way to go. So, that's something that I think is important to me, whether it's, the environment or economically or socially. I think that's just something. It's just try to do your best every day. That's all you can do.
Excellent. All right, Alec, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to take you out of the live stream. And I know you probably have babies to get ready for bed.
I have a 2.5-year-old who is probably sitting on the edge of his bed waiting for me to come in and rub his back.
Story?
Exactly. It's the saddest thing, but it's also really, it means a lot. He'll wait for me. So I love it.
I love it.
Thank you so much, Erica, for having me on your show. I do appreciate it. And again, Alecstith.com, if anybody wants to check that out. As always, feel free to reach out. Send me an email. Send me a message on Facebook. If you have any questions, I am available. And I'd love to hear from people. And it doesn't matter if you live in the ward or not. I'd love to hear from you and just ask questions. I'm always willing to listen.
You got Thursday, before we go, you got Thursday nights, right? You're doing a live stream
Thursday and Saturday, every Thursday and Saturday until town meeting day, I am doing a virtual happy hour. So I am a home brewer, so come on, have a virtual beer. I'll have a virtual beer with you. I have an IPA that I have right now. So,
okay. Is that on your website?
It is on my website. I'll have a new link updated now. The last one I just did was Saturday. So come on by. We can talk politics. We can talk beer. I want to listen to your concerns about what you think, and anybody's invited. So ask me questions, and we can get to know each other. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good night, Alec.
Have a great one. Bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here with us this evening, for listening, for checking out Alec, listening us get to a debate about some of the tax stuff. Anybody who watches my channel, watches my feed, knows that I am a small government conservative. And so to me, that means a lot of the things and services provided by the city government, the state government, the federal government really should be provided by you and me. We should be taking care of our neighbors, not expecting some bureaucrat to do it for us. So that is always going to be my stance. But I do really like Alec. I like the way his mind thinks. I like that he reasons through things, and you should vote for him. You should vote for him on town meeting day. And so as we leave this evening, I'm going to leave you with another viewing of our commercial for our book. Benjamin and I have our book published, Reasons to Trust the Government. Of course, it is a very light read, and you should make sure to check the preview before you buy it, but you can go to Amazon.com for $9.99 and be an owner yourself. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks for being here. And don't forget to go say hi to Alec and ask him questions. Make informed decisions. Good night, everybody.
This book will give you wings!
What kind of wings?
Not like Icarus wings, like eagle's wings!
What about dragons?
You'll have dragon's blood! You'll be able to breathe fire!
Fire like the Ultra Eagle Dragon!
This book will make you smarter!
Yes!
I'm not just talking honor roll smart, I'm talking Nikola Tesla smart! You'll be so good looking, Brad Pitt will be jealous!
Do you want to make money?
How much money?
Elon Musk money.
That's a lot of money!
People will think you're Elon Musk, but you're not Elon Musk, but they'll think you're
Elon Musk, because you pay taxes like Elon Musk!
And you have to argue with Elizabeth Warren because she thinks you're Elon Musk. Do you want freedom?
How much freedom?
All the freedom. One to America. How much freedom do you want?
America!
Double America! Yeah!